Man, my supervisor, he called me in the office this morning. I don't know why this GPS on. He called me in the office this morning. He told me, he say, this is what you do. He asked me, was I alright? I was like, yeah, I'm alright. He like, you got a peace of mind? I was like, yeah, I got a peace of mind. I said, I ain't let nobody destroy my peace. He told me, he said, yeah, I talked with your mom last week. He said, when she had to call in for you, he said, just continue to stay away from baby mama. He say, I said, yeah. I said, shut up, bitch. You a Nissan driver. And I would GSP your ass. Fuck on. Don't like it? Oh well. I said, yeah, all I did was buy my daughter some shoes. I said, she lied and had me arrested. I said, she said I did this to her. She said I did that. He said, yeah. He said, just continue to stay away from my ass. He said, anything you do for your daughter, he said, go through your moms, and whatnot. I said, man, the bitch targeting my mama too. I said, so I don't give a fuck. I say, he say, if you ain't on child support, go ahead and pay child support. I say, man, child support taking $173 out of my check every 2 weeks. He said, oh, well, they ain't put the course on her stupid ass. That's exactly what he said. He said, in order to have your parental rights, he said, put the course on her ass. He said, send the course out to her. I said, yeah, I am. I said, come next week. I said, I'll be down there filing paperwork against her stupid ass. So he was telling me, he was like, look, he was like, older man than young man. He said, the money is worth more than the ass. I said, oh, most definitely. I said, I don't even want that piece of ass no more. I say, shit, that piece of ass probably catching an STD. She don't know. I'm like, that piece of ass don't know what to call to me. Damn, I just got something in my ear. And I say, that piece of ass, I say, shit, everybody hit that ass. I say, I dealt with that shit down there 15 years. I say, we cheated on each other most of our relationship. So he started laughing. He said, man, he like, look, you doing good, man. He said, you doing better than I expected. He said, don't let up. No, he said, don't let baby mama mess this up. I said, oh, almost definitely not. He said, whatever you do for your daughter, he said, just hold on to it until you can get it to her, until you can get your daughter. I told him back. We was talking for a minute. And and whatnot. But whole thing is, like I told him, I said she basically had me arrested for buying our daughter some shoes for her birthday. He said, yeah, it be like that. He said, women, he said, they crazy, bro. And he was saying, he was like, you ain't never get married, did you? I said, thank God I didn't. I said, I ain't wasting my one and only marriage on her ass. He said, cause she would have fucked that up for somebody else's daughter. And he started laughing. He said, bro, he said, ain't nothing wrong with getting married a second time. He said, I got married a second time. I said, yeah, I ain't doing that shit. I said, once I say to death do us part, one of us gotta die to get out of this marriage. So we was just rapping for a minute. And he gave me some game though. Like he said, send the course out to her. He said, cause when they take child support, they gonna give you your rights. He said, no matter what the fuck she lied about and got on you. He said, once they start taking child support, he said they gonna give you your parental rights. He said the court's not gonna let that go. I said, I know. And so I'm just keep doing my thing. This, like I told him, I say, man, she just mad because, which he also said, my mom told him this, ever since You know, I done got here in this position. She done turned the heat up trying to take me down. You know, trying to come up with everything to take me down.
Keep left to continue on I-94 East
No.
Mission Ford Freeway. All signs are...
No, I don't know why the GPS is on. Must have been something I had on the radio when I was fixing it. He said, your mom told me ever since you been here, she turned the heat up on you. I said, bro, she just hating because I'm doing good without her. I said, she could have had this. I said, but no. I said, she could have been here. You know, we could have been leveling up together. I said, but she decided to cheat with the female minister. She decided to switch up on me, whatnot. You know, he's like, wow. He said, that's fucked up, bro. He said, I heard of it. He said, I had guys and women, you know, come in and the person they was with cheated on them. He said, but not with the minister. I said, yeah, fucked up shit. I said, but it's all good. I said, because I was cheating anyways. I said, I was clapping cheeks anyways. I said, so I don't care that she was breaking pussy and breaking dicks. I said, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Damn! I'm supposed to get off right there. And he said, bro, he said, just stay doing good. He said, you doing real good, man. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna continue doing my shit. You know, and whatnot. He like, man, he like, shit. He like, you go, every assignment we get, he's like, you knocking it out the park. He's like, you getting them passengers to and from their destination safely. He said, we put you in the yard, you getting them trains in, you getting them trains out. Whatever we get, he said, man, you doing it. He said, you doing good. So he told me that. Man, I'm gonna turn around right here. I do not feel like going all the way down. I'm an authorized vehicle. Yeah. And so we was rapping and whatnot. So so it's all good. But anyways, I'll catch y'all in the next video. As always, stay positive, stay blessed, stay away from gangs and crash outs, like, comment, subscribe.